Okay, so have you ever really truly paused to consider the far-reaching impact of your choices? I mean, not just the huge life-changing ones, but like every single decision.
Yeah, the conscious ones and even the ones you barely think about.
Exactly, because every choice, big or small, it creates ripples, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Sometimes tiny, sometimes, well, they build up into something significant, for better or worse.
The consequences of choices, what have you done? Our goal here is to kind of unpack this really intricate dance between our own actions, what we do, and, well, the circumstances we inherit.
The stuff that's been done for us, or maybe even to us, right?
Precisely.
And it is complex because so often we look at individual effort or maybe blame in isolation.
Yeah.
We don't always fully appreciate how much our paths are shaped by, the conditions we start with or the foundations others have laid down before us.
It's like this constant interaction, isn't it? What we actively choose versus what's already been set in motion for us.
It really is a constant interplay.
Okay, so let's start with a foundational idea here. Every single choice has a consequence. It's unavoidable.
Right.
One of our sources quotes Gary Ryan Blair, and I think this puts it so simply, so powerfully. He says, if you can accept that a bad choice carries the seed of its own punishment, why not accept the fact that a good choice yields desirable fruit?
That's a great quote. It suggests this sort of inherent balance, doesn't it? Cause and effect.
Yeah, symmetry.
And that symmetry, well, it connects really nicely to a legal term, status quo ante.
Okay, what's that exactly?
Well, lawyers use it to talk about the situation before something specific happened, before it got altered. Think of it like establishing your baseline.
Ah, okay.
So our current state, right now as we speak, is kind of a capture of your last full stop.
A snapshot.
Exactly. A snapshot reflecting everything that led up to this moment, all those choices, all those circumstances. Recognizing your status quo ante, it forces you to see your present isn't a blank slate.
It's a direct result of what came just before.
Precisely. It's measurable.
That idea of a full stop is really potent. It emphasizes the now as a consequence, like looking in a mirror.
Yeah.
The source uses that analogy. The picture you see back, that person looking at you, that's the result of what you have done to yourself or someone has done to you.
A visual record of those ripples.
Totally. It shows the cumulative impact. Let's make it more concrete, maybe.
Good idea.
Okay, so you just got a fantastic haircut. You feel great, right? Confident. Well, you paid for it, sure. But fundamentally, a skilled stylist did that to you. You own that feeling, that result.
Right. Or think about graduating college.
Okay.
Your parents might have paid the tuition, let's say.
Which is huge, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you were the one pulling the all-nighters. You acquired the skills, right? They became part of you.
Yeah. If you studied law, you're the lawyer, not your parents.
Right.
You own that degree, that identity, your choices, your effort.
Exactly. And understanding that current state, that status quo ante, if you will, is just critical for what you do next.
For planning ahead.
Absolutely. It's essential to know what your skill set and resources are so that you can come up with a compelling plan for the future.
It's about knowing your starting point.
Precisely. You need that rigorous evaluation to know where to pitch your point zero, your real calibrated starting point for whatever comes next.
It's not just about feeling good or bad, it's strategy.
It is strategy. Are you starting with an advantage, a disadvantage, somewhere in between? And how does that shape your very next move?
Okay, we've talked theory. Let's ground this with a really revealing story from the sources. It's about an elite high school.
Right, I remember this one.
The narrator talks about their experience there, and the key thing was entry was supposedly based on intellectual merit rather than a pedigree.
The classic meritocracy idea.
Right. Designed to be anyway. So in this setting, the narrator ends up alongside a couple of other really bright kids. They all go on to the same college later.
Okay.
One kid's dad was a clerk, similar background to the narrator's own dad. Another one, his father was the CEO of like the biggest multinational company in the country.
Wow, okay. Big difference there.
Huge. And then a third classmate, his dad was the attorney general for the state.
So 3 sharp kids, same school, but vastly different family contexts.
Exactly. All seemingly starting together.
And what's really interesting, as the source points out, is that the high school environment itself, the structure, the rules,
No boarding house discipline, yeah.
it actually suppressed disparities for a while, acted as a leveler of sorts.
Everyone in the same uniform, same classes.
Following the same schedule, facing the same tests. So for a time, those background differences kind of faded. It created this illusion, maybe, of a perfectly level playing field.
Yeah, an illusion. Because the cracks started showing later, didn't they? Especially in college.
That's where it really diverged. As those foundational differences, however subtle at first, they started to really matter, and the group drifted wide apart.
And the contrast becomes, well, pretty stark. The narrator mentions their first car was was a used car that my father gave me as a graduation present.
Okay, a typical first car for many.
Right. But the CEO's son, he didn't just have a car in college, he interchanged cars, plural.
Whoa!
And he also had this motorbike described as so unique in the town that no one in our social circle or even our town could possibly afford it.
So it wasn't just transportation, it was a very visible sign of different worlds.
Totally. Makes my first clunker feel ancient. It highlights exactly what we're talking about.
That we were not genuinely starting life from the same point on the block. Their brains got them into the same school, sure, but their actual starting blocks in the bigger race, dramatically different.
And that difference came from?
Well, as the source puts it, what their parents did to them altered their status. Even if it wasn't obvious in that structured high school setting, it gave them this sort of invisible advantage that really reshaped where they ended up.
And the story tracks that divergence after college too, right?
Yeah, it does.
The narrator goes into advertising and pretty quickly, like within 2 years, feels this social and professional gap widening. Finds it hard to even approach the banker's office anymore.
Even though the banker is his old classmate, the CEO's son.
Right. Who, by the way, rose so rapidly that his background and his connections catalyzed his every step.
Even if he was a nice guy personally.
Apparently, yeah, the source notes, he was a humble guy, but officially it was difficult to approach him for help. We were not mates anymore. That's pretty telling.
It really is. And the third friend, the Attorney General's son.
He became a doctor and went overseas for more studies, something his parents could afford.
Well, the narrator.
The narrator mentions had to take care of my younger kids. Different choices, yes, but also just fundamentally different options and pressures.
It just slams home the impact of those inherited circumstances, doesn't it?
It really does.
Even with grounded personalities, those structural advantages or disadvantages, they really can dictate opportunities and even change relationships over time.
It makes you question the whole idea of a pure meritocracy.
Well, it suggests that the playing field is often already tilted by these profound, sometimes invisible factors that shape careers, networks, everything. It's not about blame, it's about seeing the bigger picture.
Okay, but what if the advantages aren't just tilted, but like deeply hidden, almost invisible, passed down through generations?
Oh yeah, there's another story that digs into that, right? From graduate school.
Exactly. This one really pulls back the curtain on a deeper kind of inherited leverage. The narrator talks about being in a project group or operations management, and there's this brilliant young guy in the group, super smart. The narrator felt lucky, to be working with him because he was just that insightful.
Got it. A star student.
Totally. But here's the twist, and it's kind of mind-blowing. None of us suspected that he was a vice president in one of America's global banks.
Wait, a VP while doing his MBA?
Yeah, sitting right there in class, doing group projects, and already a VP at a major global bank.
Or something else. So why was he even doing the MBA then, if he was already a VP?
That's exactly what the narrator wondered, and the VP's explanation, it was fascinating. Apparently, his uncle, the current patriarch of their family, so to speak, had basically laid down the law, told him he would not smell a boardroom without a master's degree in business administration. It was the minimum for him.
So it wasn't just about his career goals, it was a family expectation.
Seems like it. And get this, he'd actually become a vice president right after college, with a degree that had, quote, nothing to do with banking.
Okay, wow, so the VP title wasn't earned through a typical banking climb.
Apparently not initially. The family set the requirement for the MBA later, maybe for legitimacy in the boardroom or something. He was meeting their bar.
And this is where that generational influence just becomes crystal clear.
How so?
Well, the source explains the backstory. The grandfather had set up a trust, such that each child born into the family got an investment of more than $1 million.
Whoa, just for being born.
Pretty much. And they also owned a huge chunk of shares in that very bank, as many shares as an individual family can legally hold.
Okay, so massive inherited wealth and ownership.
And crucially, that uncle, the one who demanded the MBA, he administered the family estate, which meant he effectively controlled who was admitted into the bank boardrooms.
So he held the keys to the kingdom, basically.
You could say that.
Yeah.
So think about the combination. Immense wealth from birth, significant ownership in the bank, and a family gatekeeper managing access. So, irrespective of what he had done for himself by going to school, as the source says, his grandfather had put him on a specific pedestal.
He was an asset just by existing in that family.
Exactly. He controlled so much wealth that he is an asset to any bank, regardless of his day-to-day performance almost. Now, combine that with the fact that he was actually brilliant.
Which the narrator confirmed.
Right. Proven intellectual ability plus that background. He had so much leeway politically that, well, any classmate of his would find it intimidating to challenge.
Yeah, how could you compete with that?
It really makes you ask, doesn't it? How do we actually measure individual achievement when the starting points are that different? When maybe the biggest choices shaping someone's life weren't even theirs? desires.
Made generations ago. It's like the source concludes for this guy. That is what his grandfather did to him.
Yeah, not for him, but to him, framing it as something that happened to him, shaping his path inescapably.
Wow. Okay, so we've looked at these stories, these ideas. What does it all mean for us? Where do we land? We've seen that choices matter. Consequences are real. Personal effort, like getting skills, doing an MBA, that's definitely part of the picture.
For sure. Agency is real.
But then we've also seen this massive, often hidden impact of what others, parents, grandparents have done for us or to us.
Exactly. It forces you to hold both ideas at once.
These starting blocks, they're clearly not the same. It makes you wonder how much of success is pure grit and how much is, leveraging a launch pad someone else built.
That's the core tension, isn't it? It synthesizes into this dual perspective. It's not just what have you done?
Right.
It's equally what has someone else done to you or for you to influence the race ahead.
That interplay between your own choices and the hand you were dealt.
Yeah, this complex, often invisible dynamic between agency and circumstance, advantage or disadvantage.
Right.
It pushes us beyond those simple stories of the self-made person, or conversely, just blaming individuals for failure.
You have to see the scaffolding, or the lack of it.
Precisely, the hidden structures.
And it hammers home that point about the starting block. It's just demonstrably not level. Some people are starting way down the track.
Some face headwinds constantly.
And others, like the VP, have a rocket strapped to their back thanks to Grandpa.
Which really should encourage us, to think critically about how we evaluate success and effort and opportunity, not just in others, but in ourselves too.
It's not about making excuses.
No, not at all. It's about understanding the context from which choices are made. It allows for, hopefully, a more nuanced, maybe more empathetic view of why people end up where they do.
So wrapping this up, every choice counts. Every action creates ripples. That's undeniable. But just as importantly, we've seen how your point zero, your real starting line, is so often profoundly shaped by things totally outside your control. Inherited situations, generational wealth, influence, things done long before you showed up. So maybe the question for you, listening, to think about is, at your own starting block, who are you, really? What have you actively done to shape yourself? And crucially, what has someone else done for or to you that influences the race you're running right now? Can those starting conditions be changed? Can they be modified? And knowing all this, what responsibility do you feel? Because ultimately what you need to do next, it kind of depends on what's already been done, doesn't it?
It does.
So what do you choose to do now, knowing this complex reality? Not just for yourself, but maybe in how you see other people's journeys too.
That really is the heart of it, isn't it? That's the ongoing challenge, understanding that incredibly complex weave of personal choice and pre-existing conditions.
Yeah.
It's about first really seeing the hand you've been dealt, acknowledging the choices you have made within that context, and then I think deliberately choosing your path forward, fully aware of it all. It's really a call for some deep personal reflection, isn't it? On your actions, sure, but also on your entire context and how that shapes your view of the world.